Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and curing every disease and every sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore ask the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." Then Jesus summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to cure every disease and every sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. First, Simon, also known as Peter, and his brother Andrew. James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. Philip and Bartholomew. Thomas and Matthew the tax collector. James, son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus. Simon the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, the one who betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent out with the following instructions. Do not take a road leading to Gentiles, and do not enter a Samaritan town, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. As you go, proclaim the good news, the kingdom of heaven has come near. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those with a skin disease, cast out demons. You receive without payment, give without payment. The gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Please be seated.
1 second. John, could you put that up? I forgot the benches moved forward. These folks are cooking there. Have to use it that way. I put the pen in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I think there's behind it.
Yep. One, I don't know. There you go. We're just open over. Open over.
Wait, we have to come out first.
Yep.
There we go. Ooh, that's
There you go. Right? That was my bad.
Thank you.
All right.
No, I don't care. I'm fine. I love the sun. It's just like Steve stealing my thunder.
Now thunder away.
Just kidding. So,
Cream of sugar? You're feeling your thunder some more.
it's okay. It's all right. I want people to be comfortable. Because I'm going to talk for like 25 minutes. So, in the gospel reading today, we're introduced to the 12 apostles. They are the 12 individuals that Jesus has chosen to represent him out in the world. From what we know about them, are these the people that we would expect Jesus to choose? They were a tax collector, a political radical, an uneducated Christian, a doubting Thomas, one who would eventually betray him, and several others who may have been more quiet and reserved because we don't really know very much about them. Doesn't this sound a bit like many groups that we're a part of? Gatherings of people with different backgrounds having a commonality. It could be location, purpose, or a cause, just to name a few. This passage was a passage that Pastor Chris, when I was on council, he had us read this passage every single council meeting. And then we had to break up into groups and we had to discuss it. And we had different questions that we had to answer. And we never really seemed to come to any conclusion about what it was, but I'm sure we were learning something. So I was thinking back on that, so I texted Pastor Chris and I said, hey, listen, I have to preach on this week. I said, so after all those months and months of reading it and taking it apart and putting it back together, I'm not really sure that I know what the point is. I said, is there you were trying to get across, I'm not really sure. I said, is there a secret sauce? Is there something that I need to make sure I touch on? And he said, no.
That's only he could say.
Yeah. Just just that way. And he, we exchanged niceties, and he also told me that he would send me a Bible reading to read, but again, he didn't give me any answers, so here I am, on my own. So, but I think I may have uncovered at least something of what he wanted us to realize when we were studying that over and over again. Jesus sent out the 12, telling them that their mission was to preach, cleanse the lepers, cast out the demons. He was moving them from being passive observers of what his purpose was to active participants in it. They were expected to move from compassion to commission. Wait, these are ordinary people like you and me. And they were tasked with going out and doing these things that he was talking about. I don't know about you, but most of the groups I'm a part of, if someone told us to go out and cleanse the lepers, we would be like, I'm not touching the lepers, you touch lepers. and then say, I take care of preaching. Maybe some of us could do that, but no, I'll take care of the preaching. You cast out the demons. So, I just want us to think about the fact that these are just regular people like you and me. And they were tasked by Jesus. Yes, Jesus, like the man. It would be, like someone that's most respected in your company or in your friend group who would come and ask you to do something. And of course, you're going to try and go out and do what they need you to do. And these things seem like God's work to them, not things that they could do. So this brings me to us, those of us who are here today. How are we called to do the work of the Lord in our daily lives? Can we possibly imagine ourselves in the shoes or sandals of the 12 with these seemingly insurmountable tasks placed before us? Several times in my life, I've had seemingly insurmountable challenges placed before me. The first most vivid that I recall was one day when my dad dropped me off at a friend's house to sleep over, and the next day I was sitting in her room, surrounded by my mom and my sister, explaining to me that my dad had suddenly died that morning. At that moment, I anticipated that I would never recover. But people around me, my sister, my mom, people at my church, other people in my family, and my friends all stepped up to show me how to trust God and how to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The strength shown to me by my mother and my sister in those days, months, and even years following his death healed me and kept me moving forward with my life. This path was shown to me again when my infant son Timothy died, and the path forward was unimaginable and seemed impossible. Again, I was guided by disciples in my realm that moved me forward to find my way back to a life of worship and faith in Jesus Christ. It seemed impossible at the time, but the disciples around me that were placed in my life by God were the ones who brought me to where I needed to go, so I could be back, so I could be a mother to my son that was alive, and I could continue enjoying my life. The people in my life in these difficult times were like the disciples. As Jesus taught the disciples, these people were able to enter the brokenness of my world and share their faith in God to help another person who at the time was me. These people, as the apostles, saw the pain in someone in their community and did not see it as an inconvenience, but as an opportunity to show compassion and demonstrate their trust in God's grace. Discipleship is not a spectator sport. As with the 12, we as modern believers are empowered and commissioned to bring restoration and God's peace to the broken spaces around us. May we all find a way to move through the world this week that honors the difficult road the apostles were set upon by Jesus. May it be so.